Hey everyone, Jazzy here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be kicking off the personal side of my vlog. I've been doing a lot of how-to videos and I've been doing some funny stuff and product reviews, but I haven't really had a chance to kick off the actual vlog half of the Jazzy Strong Army page. Part of what makes my channel unique is my story. So if you don't know the story, then what's the point, honestly? So basically, I have detailed in previous videos that I am a 27-year-old who is in a wheelchair due to transverse myelitis, which has paralyzed me from the T11 area, which is right around my belly button area, down to my L3, which is closer to like the top of my pelvis. I also have a transverse myelitis lesion on my C6, C7, which is right here. However, I'm mostly a paraplegic, however, technically a quadriplegic, but whatever. I don't get technical here. I also have epilepsy, which I've had since I was 11 years old. I have what is known as tonic-clonic epilepsy, as well as complex partial epilepsy. Basically, if you've ever seen a movie where somebody's had a seizure in it, that's technically what I have for the most part. And I also have the type of seizures where you just kind of go off into la la land and lose connection to server or host. So you're just sitting there kind of staring off into space, or in my case, you're on the ice playing sled hockey and you're facing the totally opposite direction you're supposed to be facing, and everybody else is going the other way and you're just kind of staring at the wrong direction like, hey, Earth to Jazz, what you doing? And yeah, no, me, just gone. Also have gastroparesis, which is due to the transverse myelitis, and if you've never heard of gastroparesis is, in its most defined form, paralyzed stomach. And essentially it means that my stomach, which is a muscle, is slightly paralyzed or completely paralyzed in some people's instances, but for me, my stomach is fortunately only slightly paralyzed. And I'm gonna say that, but I'm going to put a little disclaimer here. I have the type of gastroparesis that flares. It's sometimes incredibly horrible, considered severe, and sometimes it is not that bad at all. I can eat almost anything with the exception of red meats and dairy. So I follow a vegan diet because if I didn't, I would not be able to eat properly and gain proper nutrition, and I might end up pretty sick. So when you hear me speaking about veganism, that's why. So the gastroparesis has caused a lot of trouble over the last couple of years. It has been the biggest reason why I've been so sick and in and out of the hospital. About 2 years ago, I finally went to the hospital after losing so much weight. I was right around like 80 pounds, and I went to the hospital and they were going to do an EDG. And when they went to do the EDG, which is just basically a scope, I crashed. It was a routine procedure, but I crashed. And it was found out that my blood sugar was incredibly low. They were giving me boluses through my IV of dextrose to try to bring it up, and it took a couple of those to bring it up to a point to where I wasn't like essentially comatose. I ended up staying in that hospital for about 3 weeks, and they started me on tube feeds, and they also started me on TPN, which goes through a central line. I've had a central line of some sort for almost 1.5 years now. The biggest reason that I have a central line is not for hydration, which is what a lot of people have central lines for. It's actually for potassium, because somewhere along the line, due to the malnutrition from the gastroparesis, my body stopped absorbing potassium. So I have literally a huge stockpile in my house of potassium, and I take it mostly daily. If I'm doing well and eating okay, I probably won't, just because I would prefer not to do it that way. I would prefer to try to make my stomach work for it, you know. If you don't use it, you lose it, and that is the same in the instance of your stomach. So I don't absorb potassium very well, which is why I have a central line. I also have a feeding tube which goes to my stomach and into my intestines, and I use that for medication because I cannot properly digest my medication, and even if I could, I run the risk of throwing it up, which makes it kind of null and void, and I really need those medications because I have epilepsy and I need to control my seizures. So it's this huge conglomeration of different issues that all kind of play off of one another or were caused by one another, and essentially that's what's been going on for the last 2 years, and that is what I deal with on a daily basis. So jumping into today's vlog, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of start with today, and as I continue to make these segments, I'll go ahead and add in more of my history and more of what might have led up to this point. So today is February 7th, 2020. I am currently chilling out at home today. I don't think I'll be working out. I am not feeling 100% today. So I unfortunately feel like I'm probably going to be spending the day at home. I haven't really worked out much this week, which is really unusual for me. I usually work out every single day. But unfortunately my potassium is pretty low right now and I can't seem to keep up with it, so I'm running my fluids, but I'm unfortunately unable to keep up with the amount that I'm losing. So unfortunately what usually means in this instance is that I do have to go to the hospital, and they do give me loads of potassium in a safe environment to where they can monitor how much is going in, how much is coming out, and I don't have to worry about giving myself too much or giving myself too little, and it's just generally safer to do it that way. So when I get to this point to where I'm kind of like running out of time, sorry, we have birds of paradise here in Florida. They're 12 and 13 years old. I don't know why they're home today, it's Friday. But oh no, I'm lost. I lost what I was saying. So when I get like this and I'm unable to maintain my potassium levels, a number of things will occur. So I will get weak, my heart will start to race, and it won't really beat properly. It kind of goes a little hog wild in there and does its own thing. I get faint, and ultimately what ends up sending me to the hospital is the fact that I just get dehydrated, I get palpitations, and I end up passing out. That's usually what leads me to that point. Now you say, why don't you go sooner? Why don't you go see a doctor? Why don't you get this taken care of instead of just going to the emergency room and wasting everyone's time if you already know what's wrong? Yeah, let's backpedal a little bit. So I would do that, and that's usually what I would do, except I don't have health insurance. And you're like, oh my goodness, you don't have health insurance. You have a central line, a feeding tube, you're paralyzed, you've gastroparesis, and you don't have health insurance. No, my friends, I do not. And it is absolutely no fault of my own. Trust me, I've tried. I don't have disability either. I know. All of this going on in the state of Florida is like, well, we're not sure. Can you walk? No, I can't. Well, we need someone to say that you can't. Okay. So I go to a doctor and I say, hey, you know, I've seen you for 4 years, you know I have transverse myelitis, you know I can't walk, you know I've got adult failure to thrive, and all the slew of things that go with that. Can you fill out this paper so that I can send it into the state so that they can give me disability, which is not the main point. I need the Medicare that comes with it for the health insurance part of the, deal. And she's like, yeah, I'll fill it out, except I don't know if I can answer these questions because I don't know if I can say you can lean to the left and you can lean to the right and you can pick this up and you can put that down, and I can say you use a wheelchair because you're paralyzed, but I don't know if I can answer those other questions. I think a physical therapist needs to answer those questions. Or you need to talk to your lawyer. Wait. What? You've seen me for 4 years, watched me die, and come back to life, and you can't say that I'm paralyzed? Okay. So, I contact my lawyer, and my lawyer says that's crap, quite literally. And she says, you need to see just a doctor to fill out the paper, and after that, I would be able to actually send that to the Social Security Administration and hopefully move forward on my disability claim, which would include the Medicare, which is really the one thing that I am absolutely in need of. With my conditions, I do absolutely need Medicare and insurance. Once I get that, things will be much better, and that is honestly why I'm doing what I do, and I have to go waste the hospital's time, because without that I would essentially not have healthcare at all. So once I get through with this and I go and I see them and I get some treatment, I'll update again and let you guys know how everything went. I haven't really been working out much this week or attending my sports stuff because of what is going on with my potassium levels, and I'm honestly afraid that if I were to work out or go to sports, that it would make it a lot worse instead of, just an in and out thing. So once I get treated and I get some fluids, I get some potassium, and I get some care, I'll be able to return to my sports and everything and continue to make those types of videos. Thank you for sticking around, and if you could do me a huge favor and like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please comment. I love comments. I love community interaction, and I love coming through and answering you guys and hearing what you have to say and listening to your suggestions. If you could also do me a favor and check out my Patreon, which is listed below in the description, and become a patron. The tiers are as low as $3 a month and as high as $15 a month, and the rewards for each tier for you vary from tier to tier, including things as maybe early access to my videos or as awesome as a private one-on-one Q&A with me via Patreon Lens. So thank you again, and as always, stay strong.